Hi everybody, Barbara Manconi Smith here. Today we are going to talk about something really important, the lymphatic system. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I'm not going to talk about it the way I've been talking about it in relation to my cleanse. I'm going to talk about it in the way that Anthony talks about it, because there's been some conversation, some controversy as to whether my cleanse, my popular lymphatic system cleanse, is in opposition or with what Anthony says about the lymphatic system. And so I wanted to really clear some confusion here and really start addressing. And I'm gonna take you word by word about over what Anthony says about the lymphatic system, and we're gonna compare it with my teachings and my idea and the reasons behind my popular lymphatic cleanse, so that we really clear the confusion as to why I'm offering this cleanse, as to why the lymphatic system is important or not. We're gonna use Anthony's words, and I'm sure that most of you have probably listened to his SoundCloud podcast that he did about the lymphatic cleanse a couple of years ago. If you haven't, I will post the link under this at the end of this live, so that you guys can go and listen again for yourself. But in the meantime, today I'm gonna take you really by hand, and we're gonna go word by word onto what Anthony says about the lymphatic system, to clear any confusion as to the importance of the lymphatic system within our body, the connection with the liver, what is the recommended protocol, so to speak. Anthony never really wrote a protocol for the lymphatic system, but he talked about it. I took it upon myself to design something that was specifically addressing the lymphatic system, but for those of you who have done it with me, and some of you have done it multiple times, you know that although it's called lymphatic cleanse, we always talk about elimination pathways. So I'm going to talk to you guys today, and again, I've never done this before, but I'm going to take you by hand, looking at word by word as to what Anthony has said up to now. We don't know what he's going to do next, but up to now, about the lymphatic system and why this is so important, and what are the connections between the liver and the lymphatic system. Okay, and the reason why I'm doing that is because a lot of you are really interested, and you've asked me because he mentioned the lymphatic system in his first new podcast. So I want to clear any confusion. You guys, I'm here to support you, so I want to make sure that if you come here, first of all, you say hi, so I know you're watching. If you have any questions, you let me know. If you need me to be more clear on some things, I'll be more than happy to do so. You know, obviously I'm more approachable or reachable than Anthony, because he's a very busy man. So I don't mind to take part of my weekend to be here with you guys to talk about Anthony Williams' teaching and recommendation for the lymphatic system, and why at some point I decided to take it upon myself to design a lymphatic cleanse, the one that now I'm known for. Although, as some of you may know, I don't just do that, I do many other things. But today it's all about the lymphatic system, and it's not about me at all. It's never been about me, but it's about what Anthony Williams says about the lymphatic system. So as I said, if you're joining us now, I'm gonna guide you word by word as to what Anthony says, and I'm going to explain to you in case some things might be a little bit nebulous as to what he means. And Joanne, nice to see you. Caroline, nice to see you. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate. And if you come on board now, just say hi so I know you're watching. And I'm going to be reading because I put some notes here, of course. So I'll be watching, up and down a little bit. But I just want to make sure that I follow exactly what Anthony says, so that we kind of maybe reconcile what are Anthony's teaching and what is that I'm doing with the lymphatic cleanse, and why is it so popular, and why people are getting better every day. And again, I want to clear the confusion that this lymphatic cleanse that everybody talks about, it is nothing new and nothing different than what Anthony teaches, but I did take it upon myself because he did not write a specific protocol for lymphatic cleanse, but he does talk about it. So we can reconcile and just hopefully everybody be on the same page, okay? Because that ultimately, this is what we are doing here, trying to heal and get better. And as practitioners, we're happy to hold your hands and help you get there. So I know that some of you might have some background knowledge of the lymphatic system, of how the body works. I know that some of you probably have read most of Anthony's book, books. Some of you may have already done my lymphatic cleanse multiple times, so I know that you all come from all different walks of life. So I will just give you a small rundown of what the lymphatic system does, what Anthony advises, so that we're kind of all on the same page, and then we can move forward in understanding what is the role of the lymphatic system within our chronic illnesses, and what do we have to do first. How can we get unstuck? And I'll tell you why I created the lymphatic cleanse, because a lot of you that I was working with reach a plateau, and you guys tell me these are your words, like, I felt stuck, I gained 20 pounds, and all of you being on a Manconi protocol. So, but I know that there's been a lot of confusion, let's call it this way, about my lymphatic cleanse and why I'm offering this cleanse, whether it's in Anthony's books, whether it's in opposition to what Anthony says. And I want to make sure that we finally clear this confusion, so we're all on the same page, because we're all playing in the same team. So as you come in and say, hi Karen, hi Carol, hi Carolyn, good to see you. And some of you may be new, so it's always good to get to know you guys more. So this talk is going to be a good one, you guys, because definitely there's a lot of conversation about the lymphatic system within our community, and a lot of you have done my lymphatic cleanse, and a lot of you have gotten better, and a lot of you have, honestly wrote your own testimonials, and so people are starting to wonder, but what is this lymphatic cleanse? Who is Barbara? Why is not in the book? Is this not medical medium teachings? So today we're really going to clear this confusion. I have never done this before, and I've been offering this cleanse for a while, and I've been leading you guys for a few years now, but today I really took my time out of my weekend to really take Anthony's word by words, and again, I'm going to put his link on his SoundCloud podcast on the lymphatic system, and guide you through what he says, what he teaches, what he advises to do, and how my lymphatic cleanse came about, so that we're gonna all be on the same page, hopefully, going forward. And this video will be available going forward, and I will pin it on top of this group. Okay, so what do we know about the lymphatic system? As I said, I know that you all come from, some of you may know more, some of you may have done my lymphatic system, my lymphatic cleanse, some of you might have heard Anthony's podcast on the lymphatic system. So we're just gonna clear some confusion and start. So what we know about the lymphatic system, this is kind of common knowledge, is that it's one of the two major fluid systems in the body, the blood and the lymphatic system. We only have two. We don't have any others. Those are the only two we have. Now, the blood is in charge of feeding our cells. It feeds and nourishes our cells, the blood system. The lymphatic system is our sewage system. It cleanses our cells. So I usually do this comparison. The blood is the kitchen, and the lymphatic system is the bathroom, right? It's the plumbing of the house, in this case of our body. So this is kind of very basic to just really give you an idea of what we're discussing about. So lymphatic system and blood, two major fluid systems. Not many know though that the lymphatic system is way bigger than the blood system. In fact, the lymphatic system is 75% more extended than the blood system. Another thing that many may not know is that the blood has a pump, which is the heart, that keeps it on moving. But the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. So the lymphatic system relies on us moving, on us breathing, to actually move. So that already you can have in the back of your mind you started to understand a little bit why is it that the lymphatic system can get clogged extensively versus the blood. That of course it can get clogged, and there's ischemia, there's a heart attack and whatnot. But generally, because as long as the heart works, then it doesn't get clogged. But the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump, so it can get clogged, and it can get more stagnant. It can get much more easily clogged and stagnant. So these are two major systems, and if we really want to strip it down to basics, the body is nothing else but two major fluid systems and a bunch of cells, lots of cells, trillions of cells. But very simply put, lots of cells and two major fluid systems. Now, these two major fluid systems, they serve every cell in the body. So they don't just serve a few organs and not others, right? They serve everything in the body. So we have the blood that feeds every cell in the body, including the liver cells, including our thyroid, including our colon, including our brain. The blood feeds and nourishes the cells. And then we have the lymphatic system that cleans all the cells, and it cleans the byproduct and the waste, the garbage from the cells. Every waste material from the liver, from the brain, from the colon, all of it. In fact, the lymphatic system is so extended that we have it virtually everywhere. And really, to cite Anthony says we don't just have it in the arms and legs, we have lymphatic vessels around your thyroid, your liver, your colon, your brain and neck. Anthony says we practically have our lymphatic system everywhere in the body. And I want you guys to kind of let this sink a little bit, because the lymphatic system, Anthony's saying, but he's not the only one saying that, of course, the lymphatic system is practically everywhere in the body. That is a very extended system, right? Almost as extended as our skin, which is our major organ. So, and by major I mean our most extended organ. So if this system is so extended, it must be really important, wouldn't you say? And please, you guys, come in, chime in, say hi, tell me if you have any questions, if I'm going too fast, I get very passionate. But so, lymphatic system, extremely extended. Hi, Jackie. Extremely extended, must be just, it's no-brainer, must have some kind of key importance, right? Because it's everywhere in our body, and it's inside organs, and it's around the organs. And why? Because again, it's our sewage system. So lymphatic system cleans every cell, not just some organs and not others, every cell. Okay, so clearly, if the lymphatic system gets stagnant or clogged or run down, the whole body is going to be affected majorly. But today we're here to discuss the lymphatic system as Anthony sees it, and what Anthony's teaching us about the lymphatic system. So Anthony says that, and these are his words, the lymphatic system is designed to literally go after the pathogens, protecting us from viral invasion, from bacterial invasions. These are Anthony's words, and I will again post a link to where Anthony is saying these things. But now I'm trying to guide you, so I'm doing kind of the chewing work for you. So the lymphatic system is designed to literally go after pathogens, protecting us from viral invasions and bacterial invasion. For these reasons, a big part of the immune system is in the lymphatic system, resides in the lymphatic system. And maybe you know this already, but I really want this concept to sink in, because not many know, not many realize that our lymphatic system, which is the major at this point fluid system in our body, is the one that carries the majority of our immune system. And that is important, that we kind of sit down, step back, and understand, wait a minute, so there are two fluid systems. This lymphatic seems to be the most extended one, is our plumbing, is the one that carries out the garbage, is our sewage system. And within it, there's the biggest part of our immune system. Yes, that's the truth. So let's move on. Always citing Anthony, and again, I will post the link where you can find all this information coming from Anthony's mouth, or I should say the Spirit of Compassion's mouth. Another important role that the lymphatic system has is to push out the garbage. A lot of the toxins, a lot of what Anthony calls the troublemakers, are pushed out by the lymphatic system. So if you guys have been on the medical medium for a while, I'm sure you've heard Anthony and us practitioners mentioning or referring to the troublemakers. And the troublemakers are the heavy metals, are the pesticides, are the radiation, are of course the pathogens that build up toxicity in the body. So what Anthony is saying here is that a major important role of the lymphatic system is to push out the garbage, the toxins, the troublemakers out of our system. So what Anthony is saying is, so if your house is filled with toxicity, someone has to do the work. Someone has to take out this dust, the toxic dust is whatever your house is filled with, mold, everything that is toxic in your house. Someone has to have the role to take this out, and this for us is our lymphatic system. So according to Anthony, and most of us, of course, the lymphatic system has the role to push out garbage from the body. And by garbage, we mean the toxins, the pathogens, the troublemakers, the radiation, the mold, the stress as well, so because produces toxic hormones. So all toxicity, the lymphatic system is in charge, according to Anthony. So I guess we're all on the same page here. To put the lymphatic system as the main role to push this toxicity, the garbage, as Anthony calls it, out of our system. The lymphatic system has this role. Just want to make sure that you guys understand that. So then the question I have for you is, but why does the lymphatic system has this role? What happens if we decide, let's say by absurd, that we didn't have a lymphatic system? Where would this toxicity go? So we said that if the house is full of toxicity, is full of mold, is full of dust, is full of allergens, someone has to suck this stuff out of the body, right? So within our body is the immune system. But what happens if the lymphatic system stops working? What happens? What do you guys think happens? And again, hi Lauren, good to see you. I want this to be very dynamic, so if you guys can chime in and respond, if I can see it, I think I can. So we have established that what Anthony tells us is that the lymphatic system, one of its main role is to push garbage out of the system, of the body, and these are Anthony's words. So what happens is the lymphatic system, it gets clogged and stagnant. What happens with its toxins? What do you guys think? You're right. So the toxicity stays in. It doesn't go out because, hi Mary, good to see you. Because if the toxicity doesn't leave the body, where is it going to go? It's clearly going to stay inside of the body, right? It's just basic. It's like our bathroom, right? If we have a clog in our piping, and we flush the toilet, things don't go out, they come back up. The same happens in our body. So if for whatever reasons, and we can investigate those, the lymphatic system is congested, is clogged, it then is not put in a position of fulfilling its role, which is what Anthony is saying, to push garbage out of the body. So this garbage that doesn't go out of the body because the lymphatic system is impacted, where does this garbage go? So obviously, I leave it up to you guys to figure out where this garbage goes. The other part that I want, so pushing toxicity out of the body. The second part is, like we said at the beginning, Anthony says, but this is common knowledge, the lymphatic system has a main role because it carries so much of our immune system, has the role to fight pathogens, to fight bacterial invasion and viral invasions, like Anthony calls them, right? So really, Anthony, I love this from Anthony when he said that, when people say you need to build up your immune system, you need to fortify your immune system, that's what Anthony says. Really, what we are saying is we really should build up and fortify our lymphatic system. That's what Anthony says. In his SoundCloud, and again, at the end of this live, I will send you the link so that you guys can listen to it for yourself. But so two main roles: pushing out garbage and being kind of our main location of the immune system, meaning where the fight with the pathogens and the virus happens. And you know this already, whether you have listened to the podcast or not, because when you have swollen lymph nodes, and maybe you have felt them when you had about a mono, when you are not feeling well, when you have fever, when you're fighting a virus, you're fighting something, and you have felt that possibly your lymph nodes were swollen. And why? Because that at the lymph node level is where the fight happens, where all of our white blood cells, where our T cells, which are our immune cells, are fighting, on the first line, our pathogens. And so the fight is happening there because the lymphatic system is stopping, the viral infection or bacterial infection from spreading, right? So sometimes we can have a swollen lymph node, sometimes we can have more. And what Anthony is telling us is basically what's happening there is this fight between our lymphatic system and so our immune system, right? Because we said that the immune system is within the lymphatic system and the pathogens. First, before any other ones, Anthony mentions the Epstein-Barr virus, the EBV. And in fact, he says that a lot of the tonsillitis, the lymphedema, they are nothing else but EBV infiltrated in the lymphatic system, and the fight is happening there, right? And it's interesting because when I work with you guys, whether it's a one-on-one or in my lymphatic cleanse, I always ask you, do you still have your tonsils and adenoid? Why? Because Anthony mentions tonsillitis, and it's very common, especially in children nowadays. And what the traditional community, the medical community, especially in the past, used to do is to basically simply remove them. So you have swollen lymph nodes, let's remove them. Without really questioning, but if tonsils are here, maybe they do have a role. And in fact, turns out that tonsils are a major drainage gland for the lymphatic system in this area. And believe it or not, after years of doing this work, I can tell you that so many of us are so congested in this area. So removing major glands, hi Courtney, removing major glands like the tonsils really impacts our lymphatic system ability to fight and drain, to fight pathogens, remember, number one, and two, to drain out and take out the garbage. So, but Anthony says tonsillitis, nothing else but the EBV and an early bout of mono. That's what he calls it. The same for lymphedema. You know, when we have swelling, especially in our, in our legs or our arms, other parts of the body as well. It's nothing else, according to Anthony and the spirit of compassion, that EBV. EBV, building up, infiltrating within our lymphatic system. Now, when the lymphatic system works properly, the fight is able to overcome the pathogen, whatever that may be. Anthony says that the number one is the EBV, but of course there are all the other pathogens, all the other herpetic viruses, all the shingles, that can wreak havoc our health. But when we have a lymphatic system that works properly, the body is able to, the immune system is able to put up a good fight and eventually overcome the pathogens. The problem resides when the lymphatic system doesn't work properly, right? So, another thing that Anthony mentions in the lymphatic system podcast is the fact that, and you probably have heard him talking over and over about this, but we're all zinc deficient. Zinc deficient because he talks about the DDT that used to be sprayed that has sunk into the earth and the soil and has depleted the soil from zinc, making everything we're eating very high in copper, because copper and zinc kind of level each other out. But when we become depleted and deficient in zinc, then all of a sudden our copper levels are higher. And so in fact he talks about a lot of the neurological issues that some of us may experience, from spasm and tingling and migraines, all the neurological issues having an underlying issues, of course, being the EBV, but with high copper toxicity. Why? Because we're deficient in zinc. I'm mentioning this because in Anthony's podcast, when he talks, this podcast was done 2 years ago. This was before the liver book was written, and this was, of course, before his new podcast that he's coming out with. But of course, the informations are the same, so we're not expecting him to change too much onto what he said, on what he will be saying in the future. So what I'm bringing this up is because Anthony is so big and he's enlightened us about our zinc deficiency. But in his podcast, again, his SoundCloud podcast that I will put the link at the bottom of this live, he mentions how the zinc is the number one supporter of our immune system, and our lymphatic system. So in fact it says, these are his words, zinc deficiency is our lymphatic system's worst nightmare. That's how he mentions it. So according to Anthony, in his podcast, his directions are to do 1 dropperful of zinc every day to keep our immune system and so our lymphatic system strong. And again, I want to bring you back to what I said at the beginning. Anthony mentions that when we talk about immune system, fortifying the immune system, strengthening our immune system, and there's been a lot of conversation about that, especially with COVID, and we really should be saying fortifying and building up our lymphatic system. So he talks about them interchangeably, but that is just to give you a sense of what is the utmost important of this fluid system, which is the lymphatic system, that it is known but very often forgotten, and everybody is so readily able to talk about immune system without realizing that you can't talk immune system without talking lymphatic system. So Anthony talks about in his podcast how our zinc deficiency is creating lymphatic system deficiency. In fact, it's saying that zinc deficiency is the lymphatic system worst nightmare, right? And so if we do agree that we all tend to be, due to soil depletion and whatnot, we tend to be zinc deficient, obviously we have to accept that our lymphatic systems are not work, most of our lymphatic system are not work properly, because we're all deficient in zinc, and zinc deficiency is the lymphatic system worst nightmare, according to Anthony. What Anthony also says, which is really, really interesting, is that when we have a rundown lymphatic system, this is when diseases arise. And I want you guys to just kind of sit down and let this sink in. So when we have a rundown lymphatic system, this is when diseases arise. Why? Why do you think this is? And who do you? Claire is saying thanks a million. I have to go to bed now, but I saved this to watch in the morning. I'm too tired to stay up. Of course, Claire. And I will pin this on top, so if you guys can stay, I want to make sure. This is probably one of the most important live I've ever done, because I know that there's a lot of confusion. And all I do, you guys, is to devote my time. This is Saturday afternoon for us here in the US, and instead of being with my daughter that is carving pumpkin downstairs, I'm here with you. So, but I do it because this is my mission. This is not just my job. I do this with the heart, and I hope that you guys can feel that. And so the result, everything I do, from my books to my cleanses to my retreats to everything, seriously, my schools, my cleanse school, my cooking school, all I do is to support you and not make you feel alone. Because last night it was 2 a.m. and I was talking with a cancer patient in the UK that needed help and couldn't sleep. My husband turned and saw me with the light on the phone and said, "What are you doing? You're crazy." I said, "I can't not respond to this." So I do it sometimes to a detriment to my own health and the time with my family, but this is not, I'm not going to a bank, I'm not working in an insurance company. It's hard to put a limit and a price and a time to your health, and I'm an empathic too, so when people ask for help, I'm always there, and I hope that this can come through, and you guys understand that anything I do, including the very popular lymphatic cleanse, is as a response to you and your needs, not because I really was bored and I didn't have anything else to do with my life than come up with a lymphatic cleanse, but because there's been a lot of rumors and confusions, and I wanted to make sure with this live that I will keep posted on top of this group, that there are no confusions about what the lymphatic system does, what are Anthony's teachings. We don't need to wait for another podcast. He's already done one, and I'll put the link. He told us what he believes it to be, the importance, the utmost importance that the lymphatic system has. And you will see, as we talk more about my lymphatic cleanse, how the two are basically the same thing. If anything, I just systematize Anthony's teaching into a very organized and very informational cleanse that can help people get unstuck in specific situation when they're gaining weight, when they're not getting better. And I'm not talking about people online at McDonald's. I'm talking about all of you, because I've been working with you guys for years. I've been one of the first practitioners to offer guided cleanses. I was offering the 369 guided cleanse. I was offering the 28-day because I knew that you guys needed support. And sometimes it's much easier to do it when someone with knowledge can hold your hands and you can ask questions. So I didn't need to come up with another cleanse, but I did it because with you, witnessed the things that were happening. People getting stuck, people getting worse off than when they started, people getting an insane amount of weight. So I took it upon myself to go out, research, and do my homework to get to a point where I know how I can help you. But in order to ease any confusion as to what is happening within the medical medium community, Barbara is doing her lymphatic cleanse. It's nothing to do with medical medium. This couldn't be further from the truth. And we're gonna put these rumors to rest today with this live. So as I've been doing for the past 30 minutes, I've been guiding you from word to word, word by word, what Anthony's been saying about the lymphatic glands, and I'm kind of, translating this for you to really understand what are we looking at when we talk about lymphatic system, lymphatic health. And so where I left it was that Anthony stresses the importance of really understanding that when we talk about our immune system, we're really talking about our lymphatic system. So we can't say you need to strengthen your immune system, you need to build up your immune system. What Anthony is saying actually is we should really say you need to strengthen your lymphatic system, you need to build up your lymphatic system. Okay, and again, if you guys have any questions, I will read them. Hi Tamara, hi Sandy, hi Marisilla. This is a very interesting name, I never heard of it. I'm so glad you guys are watching, and again, I know that it's Saturday afternoon and probably you guys have a life, but I will leave this posted on top as much as possible so that you guys can refer to it, because I really think that this live is probably one of the most important live I've ever done. Hi Tamara. So where we left it was that what Anthony said is that when our lymphatic system is run down, this is when the diseases arise. The diseases as we know them arise. So another thing that it really stuck with me by listening again to Anthony's podcast for this live today is this. This is word by word, I'm citing Anthony William here. When the lymphatic system is purging and cleaning and getting less toxic, your liver can actually purge and clean and get free too, and can lead you to less illness, even help you hurry out of chronic illness in so many ways. That is why the lymphatic system is so important to you guys. Those are Anthony's words. And I will post at the end of this live the link to the SoundCloud where Anthony said exactly these words. So just to kind of rephrase what we just heard is that when the lymphatic system is purging and cleaning and getting less toxic, then because the sequence is key, you guys, it's everything. And you know why I'm doing this? Because I've been up at night studying this stuff to create things and programs and being able to do my one-on-one and support you, because I can create 2 million programs, and if they don't work, where does that take you and me? So the lymphatic system, the lymphatic cleanse that I created works because I put so much effort into it and so much research, and taking all of Anthony's teachings and then studying some more and studying the responses I had from you on the field, because I just launched in fact I don't promote it, but I just launched the lymphatic cleanse level 2. Why? Because I worked with you guys. I worked with critical patients, most of them stage 4 cancer, where there was a need to go in depth. There was a need to go, we had no time. Literally, with a lot of them, we're talking about terminal cancer. And so a lymphatic cleanse level 2. But all these things I learned from you guys. I learned on the field. There's no school where you go and they teach you these things. That is the sad part. And just in parentheses, just to tell you how idiotic our medical world is, I really was having bad low back pain and sciatic pain. I just did a move, so anyway, I scheduled an appointment with a highly referred chiropractor, but he couldn't see me for a week. Obviously, I know now how to turn things on and off with food. So by the time I saw the guy 2 days ago, I was jumping and he could not reproduce the pain in any way. And so he told me, what did you do different? And I told him, I said, I work on a nutritional therapy consultant, and I use food to reverse illness. And he looked at me, he's like, so singular, I have never seen anybody reacting to food this way. And I just wanted to just kind of leave the office just to guys have an idea, but I'm sure because you see doctors and you know how clueless they are. So what I was saying is, I dropped everything I was doing. I went back to the drawing board, literally drawing board in my office, and started working on how can I help you more? How can I help the people on a medical medium journey overcome some of the challenges? Where does the problem seem to lie? And that is how the lymphatic cleanse was created, with the teaching of Anthony Williams, with the things that I'm reading to you right now. So we talked about zinc deficiency being the worst, the lymphatic system worst nightmare. Why? Because the lymphatic system hosts our big part of our immune system. We talked about Anthony saying that when we say strengthen your immune system, we might as well say strengthen your lymphatic system. right? Anthony also talks about the fact that the lymphatic system best friend is the liver. Now, when Anthony did this podcast, and I want you guys to reflect on this, it was 2 years ago. Anthony had only written 3 books. The first, The Mystery Illness, the Healing Food, and then the Thyroid Healing book. So he had not yet written the liver, but he says in the podcast, you're gonna listen to it, he says that he had just finished to write his 4th book, that now we know being the liver book, right? So he had written that book. So even with the knowledge of the liver cleanse book, he did this podcast. He mentioned the fact that he had written his 4th book, and in fact he didn't remember which chapter was what, because it was just, you know, all into the what then we will know to be the liver cleanse book. And these are the things that he's telling us that we should be learning, being aware of, and being mindful of in regards to the lymphatic system. Now, after the liver book, for people that either came into the medical medium in that journey, or even Anthony, because it was promoting the book, so, you know, when you do marketing for a book, you just kind of gotta talk about the book. So everything was about the liver. And but I just want to put this in perspective, you guys, because until he really went out and had to start marketing the liver book, this is what he told us, and this is what he empowered us with in regards to the lymphatic system. So what he's been telling us is that the lymphatic system is the main switch of the body. The lymphatic system carries our immune system, so when we strengthen our immune system, we're really strengthening our lymphatic system. Conversely, if our lymphatic system is stagnant or run down, then is, like he said, his words, this is when diseases arise as we know them. These are Anthony's words, right? And we are here in the business of getting rid of chronic illnesses. That's why I spent nights awake to study the lymphatic system, because from his teaching I realized, and from my clinical experience I realized, we gotta work on the lymphatic system. Because as we said at the beginning, just to frame it, two fluid system in the body, one being the blood, the second one being the lymphatic system, being 75% more extended, the blood system. Something's gotta give. Someone's gotta speak out about this lymphatic system. We gotta figure out how to move it. We gotta figure out how to unclog it. We gotta figure out why things are happening. We gotta figure out why people with a fairly good and healthy nutrition can gain 20 pounds. You know, people that are overall healthy cannot gain 20 pounds on, you know, fruit and vegetable mostly. That is the body screaming to us, and that is why I really went back. You know, I've been teaching in schools. I've been teaching professionals in my life, so I love studying and I love teaching, and I think I have this ability to really take all the information, put them together and systematize them for you, which is what I've done with the lymphatic cleanse. But again, just to clear confusions, if any of you are coming in now, I'm guiding you word by word as to what Anthony has said up to now. We don't know what he's gonna write or he's gonna say next, but technically, you know, information should stay the same. We're going through what Anthony has been telling us and teaching us about the lymphatic system, its importance and its connection with the liver and with chronic illnesses, and the reason why I decided to come up with a systematized program to support you guys in the medical medium community. I'm not in another community. I'm leading this group, which is a medical medium group. I created this group when there weren't groups, support groups, you know, so that is what my life mission is. So I'm talking about you guys, not people that are in line in McDonald's, because, you know, with them it's easy, you know. I mean, let's talk about saturated fat, let's talk about milk and dairy. I mean, with you guys are already, most of you, off of the no foods. You guys already tried maybe multiple times this 369. You guys have tried the 28 days. I mean, you guys have gone on Munisa's cleanses. These are people, you are people that are enlightened. You guys are, you guys have knowledge. So when I talk to you guys, I'm saying, and I'm referring to people who have so much background already, so much knowledge, that I don't have to teach you, you know, why you shouldn't eat dairy. You know, I'm not even talking about that. Now, if I was going in my community to talk to children and to their parents about the importance of removing, you know, dairy milk from their lunchbox, that would be a different story. But I'm here talking to you guys that are already a whole different level of awareness and knowledge. So for you and with you is when I sat down and said, we gotta figure something out. Because, you know, some of you used to tell me, I've been so good with my nutrition, and yet I gained 20 pounds that I feel ashamed for my families that can't even say, you should do what I'm doing. Because why would my husband drop his bacon and eggs when I'm doing this and I'm going nowhere, or I'm doing this and I gain 20 pounds? And that was very desolating for you guys. So that's why I decided to go back to really to the bulletin board, to the blackboard, and sit down and say, we gotta figure this out together. And the answer was my lymphatic cleanse. It wasn't, again, I wasn't bored. It wasn't that I needed more business because, you know, I had plenty of you wanted to do 369. So it wasn't that. It was, why can someone end the 369 and feel completely bloated, not moving, the weight not budging, and in fact, at times, just drinking a heavy metal detox smoothie getting worse, you know, neurological symptoms galore, and things not getting better, and you guys getting more, you know, discouraged. I needed to stop that because, you know what, I have always said this, I want to keep people in the medical medium world, in the medical medium community, because I think that most of Anthony's teachings are life-changing, and we have we have the responsibility to share this. Of course, you can't do the work for other people, but you can at least lead by example and show people, listen, I haven't had a flu in, you know, a decade. I haven't taken a medicine in a decade. You know, I feel great. I'm, you know, 60 and I run and jog, all of it. You guys lead by example and people will come. So I want you guys to not feel discouraged when you gain the 20 or 30 pounds, you know, not to feel discouraged when you're like, I've been so healthy. Just yesterday, a young girl, 38 years old, 3 years on the medical medium, since 2017. She gained 20 pounds. You know, she's young, slender, weight has never been a thing until she started medical medium. 3 years though, guys, not 3 months, not 3 weeks, 3 years. And it wasn't until she joined my lymphatic cleanse that she shed 10 pounds in 3 weeks, you guys. 10 pounds in 3 weeks. Now, results, and I will talk about her story. Her name is Cassia, and because I'm really not good with testimonials, and you guys probably know this, but her story is a typical story of someone that has been in the medical medium for a while. Again, I'm not taking people from the street, from the burger joint, you know, from McDonald's and say, hey, come and do this. I'm working with you guys from the medical medium community when you get stuck. She said to me, I really don't know anymore what to do or where to go from here, because I put in practice everything Anthony said. I took every single supplement I bought, and she showed me, and most of you guys, you have all this nice little countertop with, you know, like, I don't know, could be like a store almost, 20, 30 supplements, and she was like lost. Then she comes and understands, because what I do with the lymphatic cleanse, it's not just to tell you, okay, this is what you're gonna eat, it's gonna work. You need to understand it here, because when you understand it here, when you can see it for yourself, then it's when it's gonna connect and resonate, and things are gonna start to change. So it wasn't like, here, this is a protocol and just go eat the stuff, you're gonna be fine. No. I'll never do that. What I do in the lymphatic cleanse is giving you so much information. I created a cleanse school for this reason. I teach you so much, I give you so much information, tests that you do. Initially, some people may say, oh my God, this is a little overwhelming. 3 juices a day, all the self-checks, but that is what is gonna empower you. Seeing how your body responds individually, because, you know, we're all different. And things started to shift and change, and then Cassia 3 weeks later says, you know, 3 years. You guys, I'm not making this up, not even if I wanted to. And I don't know why I would want to make this stuff up, but she says, on medical medium, since 2017, gained 20 pounds. I've done every single cleanse he offered, every single cleanses, you know, major practitioners offer, and I felt worse and worse, to the point that I'm like, I might just as well go and drink wine and have a life with my husband, because I don't know where to go from here. 3 weeks on the lymphatic cleanse level 1, she sheds 10 pounds out of the 20 that she gained in 3 years, and now she's moving on to level 2. So these are things that happen not because I'm a magician, but because I think, in the sense of being gifted, I took all the information that Anthony gave us, all of my personal knowledge and studies, because you guys, I've studied so much, like, you won't vomit, I mean, so much. I have so many books by my nightstand. My husband is like, can you just read a novel? No, I keep studying and researching, because this is who I am. So, okay, this is me, but I do it for you. I do it to serve you. So the results that people have on the lymphatic cleanse are there for a reason. Are there because we unlock the missing parts of what's happening in our body, even when we follow all the guidelines for medical medium. And again, today we're talking about medical medium and lymphatic cleanse, what Anthony has been telling us about the lymphatic cleanse. So what the best part that I took out of the podcast today is this, and I'm reading verbatim. When the lymphatic system is purging and cleaning and getting less toxic, Anthony says, your liver can actually purge and clean and get free too. And that can help us hurry out of chronic illness in so many ways. And that is why the lymphatic system is so important to you guys. That is what Anthony says. And again, I will put the link to his SoundCloud podcast about the lymphatic system and where you can find this reference. So what Anthony is saying here is that when the lymphatic system is purging and cleaning and getting less toxic, then also the liver does that. Because I started this whole rant because I was mentioning that when Anthony did this podcast, he had just finished to write the liver book. This was 2 years ago. The liver book was not published yet. But again, information should not change, right? Otherwise, what are we doing here? So we're expecting that whatever he's going to say next, whatever he's going to write next, is going to be in line with what he's been saying and doing up to now. So we're taking this podcast because otherwise he wouldn't put it out, right? As valid and as true. So when the lymphatic system cleans and becomes less toxic, then the liver can actually purge and help us out of illness. So after Anthony wrote the liver cleanse, as I said to you guys, when you market a book, then you have to be all about the book. But Anthony now has written many books, and so I personally love the first book, and I love the second book, to be honest. But I know that a lot of you come at different points, and so maybe you guys weren't around 5 years ago. But after that liver book, it became like everything is about the liver. And you guys, anytime we become isolated and we start looking at the body not anymore as a system, but like it's the liver, everything is the liver. So, because before the liver was all about EBV. So I can tell you the countless people that will come into my practice and say, well, Barbara, this is what's up. I have EBV, stage 4, I read the book, help me get out of EBV. Because it was like we are unilaterally directed. EBV, we need a focus, we need a goal. And the goal for most of you was, I want to get out of EBV. And then you wrote the liver book, and then it's, I know my liver is sluggish. But your liver has always been sluggish. And you've always had EBV. People come to me and say, should I test myself? No, I'll tell you already you have it. 9.9 out of 10 people have EBV. Some reactivation may be chronic, some is more latent, but we all have it. It's so common. That's why you guys trying to eliminate the virus is a lost cause first, because you're going to get it tomorrow. Even if you were to manage to get rid of your EBV, then tomorrow you're going to kiss your husband, you get it back. Tomorrow you're going to go out and drink from someone else's glass, you're going to get it back. So your goal should never be, by the way, to eliminate completely EBV, but reduce it to a point that is on latent state and it doesn't harm you as much. The other part that I've always done since the very beginning, you guys can Google me and find my free YouTube videos. I've been doing, the only one that I've ever done, a Medical Medium 101 crash course. So if you're new to Medical Medium, I invite you to go watch that. I've done it a few years ago. But I've always said, EBV is a thing. And so the knowledge that Anthony is giving us is key. Lymphedema, EBV, mono EBV, a lot of things, they have an underlying viral condition, and most of them is EBV related, yes. But it's like when I ask my clients and community to say, okay, you do lymphatic cleanse, then I want you to measure your blood pressure. I want you to measure your glucose level. Why? It's not that once they see it, they have to do anything different, but that knowledge empowers them. When they see week after week things changing and auto-modulating in the lymphatic cleanse, there's no more powerful tool than that to see how you can really change your chemical composition with food. And that is important because it trains your mind. And as I said, when you can see it, you can make it happen. But equally, what I'm saying is, seeing that your glucose level is fasting is X, is basically what Anthony says, the reason why is EBV. Okay, what do we have to do different? Nothing. But my approach is, we're not going after the EBV, because the EBV, again, is a lost cause. It's such a strong virus, and Anthony just talked about it abundantly. We don't go after EBV, we go after the triggers We go after what feeds the EBV. You don't go, otherwise you continue to go after EBV, but if you don't stop the triggers. And so what do? Most of you go with the idea that you need to go after EBV, you spend a fortune and you submerge yourself with supplements and to try to lower this EBV, but that is not the way. I promise you guys, done and tested, proven and tested, lower the amount of supplements, forget about the EBV, not forget, keep it in the back of your mind, don't make it your goal because it's a lost cause, and go after the triggers. What is feeding your EBV? And you know, what's feeding your EBV may be different than what's feeding my EBV, and that's why I talk so much about bi-individuality, and that's why I get so much in depth with you guys during my cleanses or my one-on-one. We need to understand what's happening to you. We can't otherwise you guys read the books and you do it on your own. You don't need practitioners, right? But together we find out where's the root cause for you, for your RA, and for her cancer, and they're not the same. And her cancer still not the same. We can't just generalize and say it's EBV. Well, wait a minute. But what is feeding her EBV and what is feeding her EBV may be different. And what my approach is, let's go after what's feeding them. Because if you start the virus, guess what? There's no EBV, or I would say there's way less EBV on a latent state that doesn't harm you as much anymore. But in this whole conversation, what I wanted to say is, the lymphatic system took a prominent stage in my practice specifically, because I realized that despite the good nutrition, despite the supplementation, and by the way, Anthony from his mouth said, every supplement, everything that passed through your mouth has to be blessed by the liver, including your supplements. So every time you guys ingest supplements, and sometimes I see you guys so hungry for supplements and tell me more, you guys, all of them have to be blessed by the liver. So if you accept and agree that by default, most of us, due to modern life and modern pollution and toxicity, we have, or we were maybe even born with a taxed liver, then you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth it to ingest so many supplements? Is it worth it to get yourself into a hole? Because financially, it's expensive. It's expensive to just do 32 ounces of celery juice. In some parts of the world, I have clients like in Canada, they can get celery juice for less than $6 a pound. And that's just food. We haven't even touched supplements. I have clients all over the world, from Europe, from Malaysia to Japan, and some of them can get the supplements, can get the Vimergy. I think this week alone there were maybe 5 posts of people asking, I can get the supplements, anything else you can recommend, or I can get Vimergy, anything else. I don't want you guys to think that if you don't do all the supplements, or if you don't do the 64 ounces of celery juice, or if you don't do the specific brand of supplements, you're not going to heal. Or else, what are we telling? What are we accepting? That the spirit of compassion is telling us, unless you do Vimergy, and unless you got a lot of money, you're not going to be able to heal? You guys, come on, this is not the message, right? So my message to you, because I marry Anthony's message, but I'm also a human being with my own brain and my own knowledge, and I try to bring this to you, my own individuality, my own way of doing things. What I want to empower you daily, and those of you who are here, hey Gail, I see you there, and she's one of my girls. She's done a lot of cleanses with me. She's done also my emotional cleanse, the soul circle. What I do with you guys is to empower you to understand how your unique body can heal. And your body can heal. It's not the supplements, it's not the fancy book you buy, it's not that. It's your body has a unique ability to turn on a self-healing mechanism. If that doesn't happen, as to why, and that is where my quest started. We start peeling the onions and understand what happened. Why Gail ended up with COPD? Why? Despite a good nutrition. Why Tracy cannot lose the weight? Why? Despite fruit and vegetables. What? I wish 80% of the Americans were eating what Tracy's eating, what Anthony is telling us to eat. And yet 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 38-year-old Cassia, 20 pounds in 3 years of medical medium. But why? And so I started unraveling things. What's happening? Wait, she's eating vegetables and she's gaining weight? Where is the problem? And again, Cassie's problem is not Gail's problem. Despite the fact that both of them, I can assure you, have EBV. That is what I want you to understand. The power is within us. It's not in a supplement. Now, supplementation can help and support us, and there's a place and a time for that. But I don't want you guys to go on to that that need for supplementation, because as I call it, then you just switch one thing for another. You switch the antibiotic for another supplementation, but you still are putting outside of yourself the answer to your problems. And I promise you that you can heal. I have people in Mexico that do my lymphatic cleanse, and they can absolutely get no supplementation whatsoever. I have people in Panama. I have people in Ecuador doing my lymphatic cleanse, and I promise you, no supplements. And yet, do they see the results? 100%. I have one of the girls now with Hashimoto in remission after 2 rounds of lymphatic cleanse. So, can you do it without supplements? 100%. I do believe that there's a place and a time, and especially in order to help us manage symptoms, that because we still have to be functional. But I don't want you to rely on supplementation feeling like, oh my God, if I don't do Vimergy, I'm not gonna heal. If I don't do 20 supplements, I'm not gonna heal, because again, by Anthony's mouth, every supplement you ingest must be blessed by the liver. And if we do agree that all of us have some sort of liver stagnation, fatty liver, overburden, then you have to seriously write down your priorities. What are you asking the liver to do? What are you asking your lymphatic system to do? And I'm giving you this, which is what I teach, probably the number one thing I teach in my lymphatic cleanse and all of my cleanses, is everything requires energy. I know that we look at food as source of energy, yes, but what we don't understand and we often underestimate is the fact that anything we ingest requires energy for the body to metabolize. So everything we put into our mouth, and again, if you've done Soul Circle with me, you know how big I am onto the food that is not just on the plate, but is also your emotional food. But everything you swallow requires energy to the body. So you have to ask yourself, how do you want your body to spend its energy? To metabolize food or supplements, or to turn on the self-healing mechanism that also requires energy and go fix itself? Because the true healer is your own body. It's not Anthony, it's not me, it's not the zinc, it's your own body. Your body has a self-healing mechanism that makes sure that when you cut yourself, the wound is gonna get, be fine, and the skin is gonna close, and you're gonna be fine. You know how many times I scratch myself? Do you see anything? No, because there's an innate knowledge, a self-healing mechanism. But how you do that, you can also do with COPD. You can also do with cancer. You can also, first of all, first rule is if the body creates it, the body can heal it. And you guys, I know that this is hard to believe, because sometimes we're immersed in our symptoms and diseases, and you feel like this is, this happened to me. This is outside of me. I didn't cause this. And I think Anthony's words have been misunderstood in large part when he says, this is not your fault. Yes, it's not your fault. I'm not saying that you want to have cancer, but I'm saying that you have every power. The body creates the cancer, right? You have every power. Every little bit of energy, cells in your body has the power to overcome the cancer. I don't care how far along you are in your healing journey, how old you are, how long have you been sick. Anybody can reverse anything. Now, again, it's not going to be, give me the program, I'll do it and I'm healed. Because most of the people that I see achieving the best results are people that really have a consciousness shift. They really start looking at themselves and life in a whole different way. So, and the more you eat clean, and the more you, especially when you do high vibrational food like fruit and vegetables, you guys, what changes is not just the chemistry in the body, it's really your clarity, and I would say your connection to the source. You want to call it God, you want to call it universe, however, whatever is your word, but the connection to the source and a clear vision of what is our place on this earth, in conjunction with nature, with the other people. And I have people that after they get cleaner, they change. Their spouses, their friends are saying, it's like you're a different person. Truly, you're happier, your mood is different. You start judging people in a different, maybe you stop the word judging. You look at people in a different way. Your thoughts are different. So do not underestimate the power of healing your own body, your own self-healing mechanism. But let's go back to the energy, which is the number one thing I teach in my cleanses, is everything requires energy, you guys, everything. So ask yourself, whenever you put a supplement, a drop of essential oil, the liver will have to bless it. The lymphatic system will have to eliminate. Okay, so ask your body, if you already know that your liver is overburdened, if you already know that your lymphatic system is stagnant, how do you want your body to spend energy? So what we do, hi Marianne, hey Garrett, hey Jennifer, what you really want is to ask your body to put the body actually in the position to do the least amount of effort metabolizing food. That's why I'm really big on iFruit and raw food, because it requires the body really low metabolic energy. And if you guys have done my cleanses, and I know some of you here have, my lymphatic cleanse, I'm big on juices because it's really chewed up for you. The body, it just goes straight to the body. I mean, straight to the cell. I mean, the liver does really little. I mean, not even. There's no bile production, there's no fat, so it goes straight to the cells, the nutrition you need. You basically, I always say, if you have allotted 100 units of energy a day, you know, with the type of nutrition we do during the lymphatic cleanse, you're really using up like 20%. Not because you don't eat, but because the choices of food that we do during the lymphatic cleanse and the combination and the juices really allow your body to have the maximum nutrition with the least effort. And that is when, and then is where the healing happens. Why? Because if you really use 100 energies and to metabolize food that we take daily, and that's why we stock most of the supplements too, because that requires also energy. So, and we just say we use maybe 10 units of energy, then we have 90% units of energy that the body can use, and the body gets cleaner, and the body gets healthier and stronger, and it's gonna go and clean. It's gonna go reset itself, like with the wound, right? So if there's an imbalance in your thyroid, that's why I have clients in remission with Hashimoto, not because I'm a magician, but because their body is, because they put their body in the position to do the work that it was designed to do, which is to reset itself. Believe it or not, even, I mean, I went to the chiropractor, right? I told you the story about the body always has plan B, C, D. Even within an unbalanced situation, the body is always trying to adjust to bring back to balance, and it makes choices. But when plan B, C, and D become chronic, then is when we, things start, breaking down, and then, the body alone is not able to reset. Right? So we have diagnosis, we have Hashimoto's, we have RA, we have cancer, we have, really cancer, what do you guys think it is? It's a disease of the lymphatic system, which is a disease, according to Anthony, of the immune system, right? So we can reverse everything if we put the body in the position of being free to use the energy to go reset itself, rather than having to digest the food that it requires. I mean, a steak, you might like it. Anthony endorses people eating meat. However, you have to ask yourself, when you're healing, do you want your body to spend energy in having to metabolize a steak or a heavy fat meal, versus using that energy to go and heal your thyroid, heal your RA, heal your so-called autoimmune condition, heal your peripheral neuropathy, healing, help you get rid of heavy metal toxicity, because that's what it comes down to. Very simple, very basic, and I'm telling you that because it's proven and tested. If the body is free to do the work, the body will heal you amazingly. And you see people coming that came in for thyroid, for instance, and I'm saying this is basic, but right now I have probably 5 clients stage 4 cancer, and they all kind of came all at the same time. So it's not that I just do thyroid, but I'm saying people come in for one thing, and then people around them tell, oh my God, your eyes look amazing. You look like a different person. You talk like a different person. I got people that came with hair loss, where half of the hair was gone, and this woman specifically in Hawaii, her hair was all white. Half of her hair gone. As we worked together 3 months later, I'm not kidding you, she has hair regrowing, thicker, coarse, black. She almost looked like the lady from the Dalmatian, half white, half black. It's amazing what the body can do once we start rebuilding with premium material, of course. So that goes into asking ourselves, what are we ingesting? It's really the building blocks of what the body is gonna do and is gonna build up on. And sometimes people say, I don't want to lose weight, but I'm losing more weight. Why is that? Depending on what you're eating. But if you are on a clean diet, sometimes the body makes decisions. I mean, the body is so smart. It's fascinating. And so my husband's dream is to go into space and get to know Mars and all that. My body, if I could make myself so small and get inside of our body in the sky, it's so fascinating for me, that universe. So I know I'm a nerd on that. So anyway, let's go back to what we're doing here, which is which is asking the body to use the least amount of energy to metabolize food and use the rest on self-healing mechanism. And that happens every time. Again, there isn't a cancer that cannot be fixed. There isn't anything, an autoimmune condition that, through Anthony, it's no, there's nothing autoimmune about it, meaning the body is not attacking itself. So let's, by the way, continue on to our quest to understand the connection between Barbara's lymphatic cleanse and Anthony's teaching on the lymphatic system. We were at the point in which Anthony said that the lymphatic system is the liver's best friend, right? And I know that after his book on the liver, everybody started talking about the liver. So I see the trends, when Anthony talked EBV, mostly at the beginning, everybody came to me, I got EBV, help me. Then it was the liver book, so I got liver, fatty liver and liver overburden, help me, So if now it's gonna move on into a brain scenario, everybody's gonna have problem in their brains and heavy metal toxicity and whatnot, so. But I have a picture that is a kind of a overview picture, overall picture, like a bird eye, and the liver and the lymphatic system, because I know that at the end I saw comments, you guys, after Anthony's first podcast, new podcast, where you said, it's not the lymphatic system. We have to understand what it really means. And again, that's why I'm bringing you his words. I'm putting the link so that you guys can go listening yourself. The thing is, the lymphatic system is the liver's best friend. Let's understand why. Let's understand what Anthony's meaning by this, right? Because sometimes, when we don't have a really in-depth knowledge of how anatomy works and how physiology works and how chemistry works, we can just tend to create this vignette in our mind where, here's the liver and here's the lymphatic system. I'm not on the lymphatic system team, I'm on the liver team because Anthony wrote that book and everybody's talking about the liver. But this is not vignettes, guys. This is chemistry, physiology, and anatomy, and I want you to really have a clear vision of what that is. So the liver is the master detoxifier of the body. It's a filter, okay? It's like a sponge is a filter, so it filters out toxins. So to make this more understandable to my clients, what I did is the analogy to you're juicing every morning, and I talk about this because I know you guys do it, so you know what I'm talking about. So when you juice, most of the time you have a little strainer that you put on top of your cup or jug, right? Why? Because despite the fact that you're juicing, and so most of the fibers are ripped and you just get the juice, there are still particles or chunks or filaments, whatever that may be, that can get through. So instead of having a nice smooth juice, you have a lot of sediments maybe at the bottom, or a lot of filaments, a lot of chunks. So imagine the lymphatic system and the liver connection has the liver being that strainer that you put after you juice, right? So you're juicing, the juice goes through the strainer into your jug. Now the jug is your lymphatic system, the strainer is the liver, okay? So, and I made this comparison so that my clients can understand, and I hope you guys appreciate it. Oh my gosh, so many of you, Michelle, Terry. So the strainer and the jug. So once we juice, and when I say we juice, like we metabolize, we do everything we gotta do, then the liver is our strainer. It's there to filter the toxins out, right? And purify the blood. The liver doesn't purify the lymphatic system, just to be clear. It purifies our blood. And the blood is one of the two fluid systems, and the blood is what feeds the cells, right? So whereas the lymphatic system, just as recap, is the one that cleans the cells. So the liver filters, like your strainer in your juicer. But if the strainer gets clogged, broken, overused, and then instead of having the little holes, start having bigger holes, then more stuff goes through it, right? So most stuff goes through it. And Anthony says that when the liver is fatigued, it clogs the lymphatic system because the liver is not able to filter as much. So your juice is not as nice and thin and enjoyable, has, it's thick and has, it's congested because the strainer, which in my analogy would be your liver, is missing a bit or two, right? So all of a sudden we get this jug at the bottom, which our lymphatic system, with this thick juice that is not really what we want. In fact, remember at the very beginning I said to you guys, the blood has a pump, the heart, but the lymphatic system doesn't. So it relies on us, first of all, the breathing and our movement to move. But let's say that we didn't breathe. Of course we breathe, otherwise we'd be dead. And we don't move. Then it's this lazy river that I always say, you guys envision the lymphatic system as a lazy river, the lymph inside of the lymphatic system. It gets stagnant and it doesn't move and doesn't move. And you know why? Anthony tells us that when the liver is congested, then it skips a bit, doesn't do the filtering that it's supposed to do, and some of this toxicity, which then we're going to go see what toxicity is, but you know, it is escaping into the lymphatic system. I hope that this is clear, right? Terry, I will write a book about all of this. I promise you. I've just finished the 2 recipe books, so if you haven't seen them, please, are the first hard copy, medical medium friendly book. I put my heart and soul in it to make it to you guys before the holidays. So please support me, because I don't make really a lot of money out of the books, but I have to pay them in advance myself, so at least I can just enable you guys to have more of you to have the books. So, but I will get to that, Terry, but thank you for mentioning this. So this strainer is your liver, and when the liver is fatigued and clogged and whatnot, then the pathogens, the toxicity starts and slips into the lymphatic system, right? But then all of a sudden in the jug, which is your lymphatic system, is not as clean and thin, and it's thick, and it's not, imagine the lazy river. When it flows, but if it becomes thick and mucousy and congested, then it doesn't flow as much anymore, and it gets stagnant. That means that, you know, it's like the little creeks here. Instead of seeing, you know, running water, you start seeing, you know, puddles where the water is stagnant there, and then it's stagnant there. But now I'm trying to simplify this to give you an idea mentally, you guys. But what is this water or this lymphatic system stagnant, not moving, does? What's in there? If you follow my conversation for the past hour, what's in there is toxicity, toxins. What happens if these toxins are not going out because the lymph becomes so thick? They stay in. Okay, that's not good. It's basically saying that you are in your kitchen making your food, and you try to put the stuff through the garbage disposal, and you try to make it work, and it doesn't, and then all of a sudden the plumbing starts spinning it up again. You don't want that. You wouldn't want that in your kitchen, let alone in your body. So if our lymphatic system becomes stagnant, that toxicity remains. And when the toxicity stays in the body, what does that do? Harm, diseases. But remember when I say your body is smart, the body does plan B and C and D. So the body's like, oh, alert, toxicity. This is not going out. Saying I gotta do something with it. Gotta do, because you know I gotta keep things moving. So what are we doing with that? The most common thing for the body is to take it and store it as fat. Here comes Cassia. 3 years of medical medium, 20 pounds. 20-pound gain. Why? But the girl is eating vegetables and fruit. How possibly can she gain 20 pounds? And now I just explained to you how. When the lymphatic system becomes congested, when there's built up toxicity, it doesn't go out, the body cannot possibly, because the body is, I mean, our hero, right, is always there to protect us. Plan B, plan C, plan D. Let me take it and I'm gonna store it as fat. Now, don't get me wrong, because it's stored as fat doesn't mean it's not gonna harm you, but it's not gonna harm you as if it was just free flowing, okay? The same is true with heavy metals. The body tries to take the heavy metals, it absorbs even. It even uses some metals in lieu of mineral deficiency, because the blood, too much free-flowing metals in the body will kill you. So that's why blood test for metals is not really accurate, because the free metals that you may have, if your body works properly, is not there. But it doesn't mean you don't have it. In fact, you do a hair test to see what's stored. You should do some other type of test to really see what your body is storing, because the body is always trying to protect us. But again, don't get me wrong, the fact that the body is storing it, it's like a temporary solution. But what happens to us, we don't know. We don't know why things are happening, so we don't know. And we keep going with a stagnant lymphatic system, with a sluggish liver, and then one day we wake up with Hashimoto. But we haven't woken up with Hashimoto one day and someone just say, oh, poor you, someone kind of gave you a bad, you got a bad cards, how you say in English, you've been dealt a set of cards. No, stuff has happened in your body that brought up an increased amount of toxicity for a extended period of time to where your body had to find solutions. And when it cannot find solutions anymore because it can't hold it anymore for too long, for the chronicity of it, then stuff breaks down. Also, from a chemical perspective, like I told you guys, you can read the book. And again, I will show you guys this. It was amazing because she just gave me the testimony yesterday, and she said, Barbara, I read every book. I've been on medical medium for 3 years, and yet with you I still learn, and you really made me feel that there's always so much more that we can learn. One thing is to read the book, and one thing is to really understand what's happening. It's very different, you guys, and I'm not saying that you're not able to do this without a coach or support, but I'm telling you that especially when it comes to the lymphatic system, and especially if you find yourself stuck, please consider working with a practitioner. In particular, of course, I'm talking about myself. I mean, why? I feel that a lot of other practitioners, although well-intended, they just have read Anthony's book, they know exactly what he says, and then just spew out what he says. But sometimes there's a need to go deeper, like what I did with the lymphatic system, and understand things and unravel things. And they might be not, because we're not with Anthony every day, we don't talk to spirits, so we can ask and we need to understand. And so it's important that you work with someone that understands chemistry, anatomy, physiology. It's important that you work with someone that has had enough experience on the field clinically to say, hey, yes, I had someone that has happened the same situation, let me tell you why. Yesterday I had a client that said, I just want to hear that I can heal. And I confidently told her, yes, you can. But why? Because I've been there, because I've had other clients being there, and so I can help her and she can feel that. Her own doctor said, if this doesn't work, then I don't know. And that's not why we go to doctors. I promise you. The main thing why you want to doctors is because you want to have confidence that they know what they're doing and they're going to help you feel better. But when you go to a doctor that tells you, well, if this doesn't work, then I don't know. I mean, it doesn't even matter what they're trying. I mean, she's not going to have trust in them. So please, I urge you to work with some people who have experience, enough experience, long experience, and they have really good knowledge, in-depth knowledge of chemistry, anatomy, and physiology. Because sometimes you need to find solutions that are not written in the book. And then what? Otherwise you could do it yourself. But again, a lot of you get stuck. And there's a reason, and we're going to unravel it together. And I wanted to make sure that more of you can have access to this information. That's why I created the guided cleanses. Otherwise, I could just have you pay a premium to meet with me. I just do my one-on-one consult, and like some other people do, and I'll be fine. But I wanted to get this information to as many people as possible. And again, it's not just information. That's why Terry said, Barbara, why don't you read a book? Because the book, I might write it, but you still need the interpretation. You still need to make it yours, to make it work for you, and understanding what's happening to you in that specific moment. That's why I have a cleanse school, because the school teaches you things that you take with you, tools that you take with you to understand why is my body glucose reacting this way. What changes if I have a white potato at night or I don't have a white potato at night. I mean, you guys, the amount of information that if I cleanse. In fact, some people say, Barbara, it's so cheap that you kind of set the bar so low that people now are expecting so much that they're getting from the lymphatic cleanse and from you, and you're never going to be able to get any more from people because they're just so used to. But that's a different story. Anyway, so let's go back for a second. Liver and lymphatic cleanse, lymphatic system, best friends. The liver is the strainer. The lymphatic system is the juice that you get after the liver as cleanse. The problem is when the lymphatic system is congested, guess what happens? Like in any respectable plumbing system that works, it's going to build up toxicity, bring the toxicity back up. And what happens to the liver then? If the liver is our master detoxifier, if the liver is the organ that is in charge of eliminating toxicity from our body, the liver is like sluggish, hard working on the toxins of the day, but boom, all of a sudden is hit with a wave of toxicity that comes from the fact that the lymphatic system is not able to do the work. Because again, Anthony is taught, and I will put the post, so the link, so you guys can hear it yourself from his mouth. Anthony says, when the lymphatic system is purging and cleaning and getting less toxic, your liver can actually purge and clean and get free too. But he says when the lymphatic system is purging, then the liver can too. So if the lymphatic system is not working, and that is where I started my quest from Antony. I didn't need to create the lymphatic cleanse, you guys, I promise you. So Antony says to us though that when the lymphatic system is purging and cleaning and becoming less toxic, then the liver can also too, and then the liver can help us, hurry out of chronic illness, because it's going to be able to process more toxicity, right? But when it's like a machine, like, sorry you guys, some technical difficulties, my phone overheated and it turns off. So I'm gonna paste these two together. So I just wanted to finish because there were a few things that I just wanted to discuss before we close this. So if you happen to still be around, I would love for you to guys continue to ask me the questions, because just now I saw that there were a lot of questions there, so I'm happy to answer them. Where we left it was that the lymphatic system, according to Antony, is the liver's best friend. The two work together. I was giving you the analogy of the strainer of your juicer, when you strain your juice, and then the jug with the juice that falls in it being what's left in the lymphatic system. So as Antony says, when your lymphatic system is purging and cleaning and becomes less toxic, then your liver can, by default, becomes cleaner and less toxic, and it can help us hurry out, that's what Antony says, out of chronic illness. So the two go together. We can't have one without the other, and anybody that talks without knowing really about the liver versus the lymphatic system is misinformed and is missing the bigger picture. It's not just about the liver and the lymphatic system. In fact, it's about the kidneys. That's what we do in our lymphatic cleanse. It's about the kidneys. It's about the adrenals, because if you know, the kidneys and adrenals are sitting on top of each other. So whenever we work through the lymphatic system and in the lymphatic cleanse, we get knowledge and awareness of how the body works as a system. We touch the liver, we touch the lymphatic system, we touch the kidneys, we touch the adrenals, because they're sitting on top of each other, and most of us do have adrenal depletion at best. And then we touch the digestion and the colon. So although I did call it lymphatic cleanse, it's really an elimination pathways type of cleanse, and touches so many organs. And again, anybody that comes to me misinformed, saying, well, this is not medical information, or Antony talks about the liver, it's just a very skewed vision of the overall. Antony, and with this live, I hope I gave you all the knowledge, and I will post the link where he talks about lymphatic health and what he says, what he has to say about it, so that we clear the confusion. But in general, you can never take one organ out and just isolate it and say, okay, this is what's happening, it's the liver. Even if it was the liver has impact on all the other organs and fluid systems, so on the blood and the lymphatic system. So it can just never be a liver thing. And Antony is not what he's saying. It's not just, at least not, that's not what he said so far. So it's not just a liver thing, it's not just a lymphatic cleanse thing, and a lymphatic system thing, it's all together. But there is a fact, which is very basic, and that goes back to chemistry, and that's why I said you guys work with someone that knows and has knowledge of chemistry, anatomy, and physiology, because this is not that simple. You need to understand what happens in the body. And so what I'm telling you is that chemistry, though, is factual. I mean, we might not know all the different variety of herpetic viruses that Antony talks about, because only spirit knows at this point, but we do know what happens within chemistry when you put things together and the effects that they have, right? So when we do agree that whether consequences or accumulation of effects with an overburdened liver and a congested lymphatic system, toxicity builds up in the body. That toxicity from a chemical perspective is acidity that builds up in the body. And I'm sure you've heard how cancer thrives in an acidic environment and all these things, but it's not just cancer that thrives in an acidic environment. It's really any disease. Why? Because toxicity equals acidity from a chemical perspective, and acidity equals inflammation. I mean, when you touch something that is acid, it burns, doesn't it? So that's what happens in your body. So when you have inflammation all over your body, when you have pain, it's because you are inflamed. But when you are inflamed, is really from a chemical perspective, you are acidic. And when you are acidic, you're very toxic. That is kind of the 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 consequences. So you build up toxicity from the liver and the lymphatic system. Toxicity equals acidity. Acidity equals inflammation. So because the inflammation is at the base of all the pains that we have, all the immune response that builds up inflammation and whatnot, we have to understand what happens in the body to be able to unravel and get to a solution, to be able to unravel and get to what is happening to me. Because again, you guys, we can get knowledge, but then we need to start doing homework and putting the different pieces of the puzzles together to make sense to what works for us individually. So get all the knowledge that you can, and I invite you guys to question, to have doubts, to ask questions, to listen to other sources, because it's your health, nobody else's. So put all the pieces together and keep the ones that resonate with you, so that you will be able to get to the answers that you need to get better and stay healthy. Now, all I wanted to say is that anytime though you put the answers outside of yourself, get the knowledge from outside, read all of Anthony's books, listen to all of his podcasts, and have other sources as well. I invite you to do that as well, because it's important that you're not unilateral in your search. But then again, realize that you are using and listening to all of this to make sense to you. So pick and choose what you need to make it sense to you, to make it work for you. Some people will decide to stay raw, vegan raw forever. Some people are gonna go back to more animal products. Some people are gonna have their occasional cheat days. Some people are gonna have weekly cheat days. We're all different. We all make different decisions, but you have to make it work for you. And the only way you know is to listen to your body and what works for you. And don't let anybody, any book, any dogma tell you what is gonna work for you. Nobody can say that, because nobody knows. Nobody's in your body, so that is key. I mean, everything I do is about this, empowering you to learn what your body's trying to tell you. And basically it's like teaching your language. And when I teach your language, then you have your own conversation. You don't need me to translate for you all the time, right? And empower you to understand that the answer is always being inside of you. And so I teach you how to unlock the self-healing mechanism of the body. And if it's stuck, what do we need to do to unstuck it, to then get to the point where your body can heal itself, because that is the ultimate goal. And again, a right and a prerequisite for all of us. Again, nobody is too sick to reactivate that. Some people are sicker than others, yes, and for some people it might take longer than others, but nobody's too sick to get to that point, So anything, in my opinion, is that anything can be reversed, 100%. If the body creates it, the body can fix it. But we have to put the body in a position of doing so. So, I gave you the example. So I really think that this is it for today. I'm gonna leave you with, if you have any questions, I'm available to you guys. I am available on the Medical Medium Detox support group, because it's my group. I'm available on my page, the Barbara Manconi Smith on Facebook. And if you do decide to join the lymphatic cleanse, we have one that starts on Monday, but we won't have a first call until the following Saturday. So we still have the opportunity for you guys to join us. And really, for 3 weeks, and some of you I saw when we got disconnected, they asked, the lymphatic cleanse is $129. It's for 3 weeks, and you have 3 weeks of full support. You're also going to join a private group where you can ask all the questions. There's no limits to the questions. You're going to have 3 live calls with me, tons of information that you can access to ongoingly. If that has resonated with you, if you feel, because you don't all have to do a lymphatic cleanse, absolutely not. But if you have listened to me, if you've listened to Anthony, and if you are in that place where you say, hey, something is not changing, I gotta change something, or I'm not understanding why some things are not happening the way I wanted them to, then consider that a build-up toxicity in your body could be the culprit of what's happening to you. And so let me teach you how to undo that, so that then you can go on your own and continue to thrive. Again, within the medical medium teaching and community, none of the things I said, and I really hope that this, it's kind of the last message I want to leave you with today. that you guys finally have taken home the fact that everything I've done, everything I do is following medical medium teachings, and is taking from his words, is taking from the things he said. But I had that mentality of questioning the why and going deeper. So that is why I created the lymphatic cleanse and all my other programs, even the soul circle, because Anthony now is starting to talk more and more about the soul. I mean, the soul circle was born 4 years ago. Soul circle, that is my emotional release program that I've been doing successfully for 4 years. But why? Because with you guys working on the field, we realize that as we peel layers, then we understand that sometimes there are walls, and these walls are emotional toxicity, trapped emotions that we've been storing for a while, and those, they do harm our health as much as the toxicity. They also congest the lymphatic system. Make no mistake, any negative emotions is not just in our head or in our mind, in our heart. They do change the chemistry of our body. We become more acidity. So please understand that if you have any trapped emotions, unresolved issues, they are going to affect your chemistry of the body, the way your body overall feels. That is why when we do a liver cleanse or we do a lymphatic cleanse, we start to not just experience changes like physically, the detox symptoms, but we start to experience also some emotions. Some people feel really bitter, really angry, because we are shedding emotion toxicity, and they are stored. Anthony talks about it. They are stored in our liver, so in our organs, and not just the liver. So the soul circle was born to respond to your need to or support to help you remove this emotional toxicity. Because even if you've gone to a therapist for many years, and I had a lot of you, I had a therapist, actually many, they're doing my soul circle, and the work you do with the therapist is very different than the work that we do in the soul circle. So it's something that you can do at the same time, for sure, and it's something that it's not a duplication, for sure, but understanding and even realizing what the issues may be, it's not like learning how to release them, and that's what we do. So if you guys have felt that anything I said, and again, all I wanted to do with this live was to really clear the confusion, because sometimes I mean people have been talking and I don't really have the time. I have a 3-year-old, I have a family, I have a busy practice, and I don't have the time, and I just finished 2 books and I just moved, and all my windows are closed, and if you guys see me sweating, it's because they're closed so that you guys don't have noise, and we have noise in this new house. So, and it's 92 outside. Just a little parenthesis, I usually don't look like this, but so it was to really take some time out of my day and say, hey, I want you guys to have trust in me. I want you guys to know that I'm leading you somewhere, and it's not somewhere else to where you think you're going right now. I am a medical medium practitioner, or I don't even define myself like that, but I follow the medical medium. I implement it daily in my practice. Everything I do stems from my knowledge of the medical medium and its message, but also from the knowledge of the body, from my previous knowledge of my studies, of course, and the clinical experience done with you. So everything I do is within the realm of what you are doing. If you're watching, it's because we're in this group. I didn't put it on my page. It's in the medical medium detox support page. So it is absolutely the lymphatic cleanse in response to some of the challenges that I saw you guys going through, and using the medical medium teaching to systematize a program that has helped hundreds of people so far. And again, not everybody needs a lymphatic cleanse, absolutely not. But if you feel that anything I said resonates with you and you want to check it out, I mean, the worst that you can lose is $129. But I promise you that it's worth your money, and it's worth your money just the knowledge that you're gonna get about your body. Symptoms aside, and then again, symptoms are different. The results are different. Some people get Hashimoto in remission. Some people, shed 10 pounds in 3 weeks. So there's a range of results. However, what it will stay with you forever is the knowledge that you take with you to learn what your body is telling you, decoding how to interpret what the body is telling you. We do the self-checks, so you get so much knowledge that just that alone will grant the little investment that you do for the 3 weeks. But the bonus is you will see for sure things shifting in your body. and changing, so that then you know if you're on the right path. You know it if you're thought of maybe something's happening in my lymphatic system, maybe I'm acidic, maybe I'm holding on to toxicity, maybe my liver is sluggish, maybe my kidneys are involved, you know, and all that. Because you can believe that when we hold on to toxicity, kidneys are not involved. You know, the kidneys are our filtration system, part of our filtration system as well, and you can't believe that they're not involved, you know. And if your kidneys are involved, your adrenals are involved, or vice versa. A lot of you are aware of weakened adrenals, but the adrenals sit on top of the kidneys, and in Chinese medicine are one organ. So if you do agree and you know that your adrenals are impacted, then you know that your kidneys are impacted. But then if your kidneys are impacted, then your elimination pathways are, and then where's this toxicity going, you know? So I'm saying this because it is all part of a system. And again, I will talk and defy anybody that comes to me and talk to me about isolated organs and isolated, taking the body apart as, you know, is this organ the problem? No, we're a system. Wherever is the breakdown is going to affect the rest of the system, and you cannot look at the liver without looking at the lymphatic system. Anthony doesn't want us to, because again, I will post the link and you will hear from his voice. Anthony does not want us to look at it separately. In fact, it says the liver and the lymphatic system are best friends. Why? Because we're all interconnected. And I'm adding that if your lymphatic system is congested and your kidneys is congested, your liver is congested, then your kidneys are congested, and then your adrenals are you know, impacted, and then your thyroid is impacted. Because if you read Anthony's books, you know that, you know, the thyroid, you know, supplies for adrenals for a time, and adrenals sometimes supplies for the thyroid for a time until it becomes chronic, and then they both fall apart. So we have to know how the body works, and chemistry and physiology and anatomy, to really have a visualization and an understanding of what is happening in my body. You know, you can isolate words that Anthony says, you can isolate books and say it's all about the liver because I read that book. You have to have it will be really ridiculizing and reducing tremendously Anthony's message and the truth of life, because at the end of the day, Anthony is a medium with a source that comes from above to give us messages about what the truth, a little window into what is really happening with us. And we are expression of the creation. Again, I'm not making it, I'm not trying to talk theology, I'm not trying to talk you know, religion into this, but you know, you have to accept that something created us, right? Something, someone, however you want to call it. And every little bitty knowledge that we gain is to give us a better glimpse of you know, what are we doing here? And as I said at the beginning of this long life, is that once you get clean, once you start eliminating toxicity, once you become less toxic and started feeling better, something changes inside of you. And it's not just the chemistry in your body, and it's not just the absence of symptoms. You become clearer, mind and spirit. You become more connected. I have clients telling me, I know that I can smell diseases on people, you know, like dogs can do. Some people are so clean and connected that then they can have almost superpower. But the biggest thing I've seen in everybody that kind of get clean this way is the awakening, the spiritual awakening that happens. So you guys don't underestimate this journey and this process, because the people who get the majority, the best results are the people that really undergo a consciousness shift. It's your consciousness that changes and shifts and gets more open. So, and you become part of a whole. You look at a different way in which you belong and you relate to you as an individual, to the rest of nature and the other human beings, and understand more, and you're more connected. And when there's that uber connection, I call it, then is when, you know, miracles, when you can really create yourself and make things happen. So it's a profound shift and a profound journey that we're on. Don't underestimate it. And again, if anything of this has resonated with you, I hope that I cleared the confusion for anybody that is coming over, watching this later, for any naysayers that have said to me, you know, but you're not doing medical medium. I hope that now I took the time. Again, I didn't respond before because I didn't have time, but now I took the time to coming from a place of love, now not a place of ego, because, you know, I'm a human being too, and sometimes I get pissed at things, but I took time to settle in my new home and come to you from a place of love, not a place of ego. I know that even the people who have said things like, you know, she's not a medical medium, she's not following medical medium, this cleanse is not medical medium. Now, hopefully everybody has an understanding at where I came from and why I created this group and why I created this cleanse, knowing that I've been doing, all that I've been doing is, you know, implementing into these teachings and add on what I know to be true and what my experience is, to give you and empower you with tools for you guys to get better and stay better and get healthier. So if this resonates with you, if you have not done the lymphatic cleanse, I invite you to consider it. It starts on Monday. You have a few days to, even throughout the week, to get prepped. The first live call will be the following Sunday. So you have plenty of times. And again, you get so much information that you keep with you. So whether you even start a week later, 2 weeks later, it doesn't matter. I have people that do the first 3 weeks and then they continue, you know, for 9 weeks on their own. And then if you haven't seen them, because they are my babies, really, beside my baby, yes, Diana, I would love to have you. Please check out my recipe books. They are 2, not 1, because when I do things, I do always big things. But they are my recipe books in which I pour my heart and soul. In them, there are 2, because 1 is the main book, and it's 250 pages of recipes and nutritional guidance. And then the second one is 120 pages of just holiday recipes. So I want to, guys, to bring you back into the kitchen. I want to make dinner table happy and a good thing again. I don't want you to feel deprived. The reason why I don't promote my things a lot, but I'm saying about the books because I pour so much of who I am, my upbringing, growing up in Italy, my staples. We would visit a medium-alize, the pasta, the polenta. Imagine the polenta is made with corn. So I really had to go back to the drawing table and say, okay, we're gonna make this and we're gonna make it with no corn. You know, so of course every single recipe in my book is free of all the no foods, and not just the no foods, free of all the other things that Anthony here and there, because you know the no foods are specific foods, but then there's the yeast that also is better not. There's you know, there's the nutritional yeast and coconut aminos and other things that, you know, in the vegan or raw world we use that are not as you know, as medical medium friendly. So I gave you 5 or 6 recipes on how to make cheese at home with no yeast, which is really a chemistry nightmare. If you ever try to make cheese on your own. But you're gonna get Parmesan recipes, mozzarella, mascarpone. You're gonna make tiramisu. You know, some of my staples as an Italian. That's why I say I pour so much love into this book, and I'm really proud. And I really want you to understand that I'm publishing the book myself. So I don't have a big publisher behind. I don't have a lot of money behind. I try to keep the cost of the book very reasonable so that everybody could buy it. But for me, the unit cost of each book, it's really a lot, because again, I don't have a publisher, so I can't have, you know, 500,000 copies and have each individual cost of each book being very little. So each book costs me a lot of money, but if I go even, I'm happy. But I want you guys to bring you back in the kitchen. And I don't know if you've seen that, but for everybody that buys the book or the books, you get lifetime access to my new medical medium friendly cooking school. So every week we're gonna, and it's free for you guys to access once you buy the book. So we're gonna do together the recipes in the books. We're gonna do challenges, and the reason why is because I could have just done the book and get it over with and sell it if you guys buy it and continue my cleanses and my practice, but I wanted to give you an ongoing experience. And the ongoing experience is, let's come to the kitchen together. Let's make cooking time happy again, you know, because when you are on this path, it could be very isolating. And I have so many clients saying to me, I'm not going on a date anymore. My husband doesn't take me. My husband doesn't cook for me anymore. My daughter doesn't want to come out on a date with me because she says, Mom, you're boring. Other people being very depressed because they couldn't participate to the baby shower. Or, you know, a grandmother, one of my dearest and longtime clients, tells me, my family, she's an Italian mom in New York, telling me, my family doesn't even invite me for a Sunday supper anymore because they don't know what to cook for me. That's depressing, you guys. And for me, as an Italian, food is so much more than just, you know, stuff in your mouth and emotional eating. So probably there's a lot of emotional eating in Italy too, and I really wanted to use my knowledge and my expertise and my passion, which is food and cooking to bring you back to the kitchen, to show you that you can make the cupcake and eat it too and be healthy, that give you the nutritional guidance to where you can take any recipe from low fat to zero fat according to your needs, give you a lot of other information about the blue zones and about the balance, what balance looks like in your life. And I mean, it's so packed with information. At the end, it's 350 pages of information for a very little cost. But for me, you buying the books will allow me to give this book to many more people. So it's really a passion project. I went to the post office myself again because it's just me. And I went to the little guy in the post office and said, hey, I want to see how much it costs to mail this book. And the guy was like, you wrote a book? Yes. It's yours? Yes. I said, oh my God, blessings to you, a love of passion. A work of passion and love. Yes, it's like basically he's already looking at me and say, you loser, you're never gonna make money with this. And I don't care. I just don't want to lose money because I have a baby and I have a husband and I have a family. But as long as I can get this book to as many of you, I really would love to have you in my cooking school, because again, you guys know when you work with me, like I speak from the heart. Again, I didn't need to do a cooking school. I can just make the book, try to sell them, and that's it, and move on with my life. The cooking school is free, so every time I take time to do videos with you, to do challenges with you, it's time that I take that nobody pays me for. But I do it with love because I know that sometimes, even when we do our cleanses, when I say, hey, write this letter to yourself about this, you guys never do. But when you come in a soul circle because you're kind of forced to do it or because someone is waiting for you or rely on you, then you do it. And the transformation is amazing. So I know that giving you a book is great. But then inviting you to come to the kitchen with me and make these recipes, because you can flip through the recipe, oh nice, and then like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to my salad because I'm uninspired. But once a week we're gonna have new videos, or once a month we're gonna have a challenge, and we're gonna have a Zoom challenge cook-off together. So and all this time, nobody pays me for it. But my biggest joy is for you to start telling me, hey, I know I can be on this lifestyle, I can be healthier, I can get rid of my COPD, I can have my family my father get rid of cancer, my children, and still have fun in the kitchen, and still look at food in a different way. So please, my sound is very low, Deanna. I don't know, you guys. I don't know, it's all on. So thank you so much for watching, all of you, and I know that some of you have been watching for a while, so I really appreciate your time. If I can be of any service, please let me know. I'm here for you. Write questions, I will answer. And then I hope to see some of you next week on the lymphatic cleanse. I hope you guys decide to buy the books, to gift the books, so that finally people will know what to cook for you, your daughters, your neighbors, your friends. And then if you have any topics that you would like me to cover in the future lives, please write them underneath, because I want input from you too. Sometimes I feel that something is important, but maybe you guys want to hear about something else, so please write it. And thank you so much. I'll try to condense these two parts so they will make sense for the people that will watch it after you, or for you if you left it at some point. So thank you so much. Love you all, and I hope to see you next week.